Hey guys, sound demo for the Rullywow Voodoo Return Fuzz, or as I've called it, the Pink Panther Fuzz, as I stated in the build report, because of the paint job. Kind of looks reminiscent of the introduction of a Pink Panther movie. So it's based on the Roger Mayer silicon fuzz, silicon axis fuzz. It's a silicon fuzz, so it uses silicon transistors. I'm going to swap one of those out with a germanium transistor just to hear what it sounds like. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it's an improvement, sometimes it's not. The transistor I'm going to be replacing is a high gain silicon transistor, being a 2N3906, so I'm not anticipating it's going to may not make an improvement, but we'll give it a shot, see what it sounds like. Might have to compensate with a higher gain transistor for the MPN as well. Give it a shot. They're very basic modifications. I haven't really looked at the schematic much either, so I'm just going to be playing around with the two transistors a little bit. Yeah, let's have a listen to it. So the knobs are gain and volume. I'm trying to remember which is which. Fairly certain that one's volume and that one's gain. So the right is volume and the left is gain. And I'll also play around with the volume on my guitar a little bit too, just so we can see if it cleans up nicely. Not saying that is a quote from Ben that should be questioned. It's often a comment that you hear about fuzzes, so they often say they clean up nicely. So let's see if that's actually the case. Let's get to it. So that is the sound demo for the Rullywow Voodoo Return Fuzz, the Pink Panther Fuzz. I'd probably say, from just messing around with it and recording the sound demo, in my opinion, germanium's probably not worthwhile doing unless you put some sort of bias in the pedal as well, just so you can change the voltages a little bit, because it sounds a little weak. Sounds like it's probably not getting enough voltage through where voltage is needed. Don't know which resistor you would do to replace for a bias control. You'd have to do a bit of research, but just look up Axis Fuzz or Axis Silicon Fuzz bias control or something like that. I'm just sure there's 1,000 things on the internet that you can read up about to add one of those. So if you're looking at putting a germanium transistor in, I'd definitely look at some way of putting some biasing in there for that. Otherwise, I would say that the actual standard setup is probably the best. I tried replacing the NPN with a higher gain one, the 2N5088, replaced the 2N3904 with the 2N5088, and I don't think it sounded much better either. Started getting the sort of distortion territory. I think the best configuration for it is just the standard way that it's been set up, unless you start getting into a bit more extensive modifying of the circuit. Only other thing I want to comment on, two other things actually, just quickly. Volume control did work. You have to have the gain up full before it has, if you have the gain on low and the volume on your guitar low, I don't think there's enough punch to get through. It starts to sound a little weak again. So just turn the gain up full and modify the volume on your guitar, and I think it cleans up nicely. What's going on with this camera? Seems to be out of focus. That's better. Third thing, lastly, some sort of tone control would also be good. Very bright. It's very bright sounding. My treble on my guitar, on my amp, is down lower than it normally is, and it still sounds very bright. Something simple like an input tone control you could add as a modification pretty easily. Just a couple of capacitors and a potentiometer. Something simple like that I think would go a long way. Otherwise, you could do a 2-in-1 and have a boost at the front, boost with the tone control at the front would be good as well. I think it'd be a good addition to the circuit. Otherwise, it's pretty good silicon fuzz, like I said, easy to do. Bags of room, so it's good for a beginner. You got tons of room in there. Leave out the battery if you're worried about space. You want to make your life easy. Leave the battery out. Move the stop switch down. Yeah, it's pretty good silicon fuzz. It's gonna be comparable to any other silicon fuzz that you might buy for $100+ or whatever. It will be on the same sort of ballpark. Very explosive. It's a very explosive sounding fuzz. Don't know if that came through on the video, but that's the conclusion that I came up with when I was playing in front of the amp. Thanks for watching. Hope you like the Voodoo Return Fuzz. If you need a PCB, you can get one from Ben from Rullywow. Just type in Rullywow, that is RULLYWOW, Rullywow. They're on his website, and yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day or a good night, depending on what time you're watching the video. Cheers.